Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How you doing? A big mahalo for tuning in. Today we are connecting with a very talented, charismatic frontman and band leader. You may know him from the Buena Vista Social Club or from the band that he's going to be bringing to Honolulu on April 16th at the Blaisdell Concert Hall. The group is a unique orchestra offering a wide range of Cuban music, and their leader has devoted a large part of his life to keeping that music alive and growing. He originally hails from Havana, Cuba. He comes from a musical family and has a strong love of music that's touched people around the world. It's a great honor and a pleasure to welcome for a conversation the gifted band leader of the Afro Cuban All-Stars, Juan DeMarcos Gonzalez. Aloha, my brother.
Hi, my brother. How you doing?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for being available.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Means a lot. And before we started the official interview, you were telling me about some connections you've got to Hawaii. You said your son's in the Navy and was recently here?
Yeah, my son works for the Navy. He's an engineer. He's working for the Navy, and he was in Hawaii, especially in Honolulu, I think, about 2-3 months ago. And he told me that's a beautiful place, beautiful women, of course, that I didn't know before. And that's a nice place. And I'm very excited. You know, I've heard that Obama grew up in Hawaii.
That's right.
Our president.
Right around the corner from our studios.
Oh, yeah. That's great. So to meet the people there and to have the chance to perform our music and give them a piece of my country.
It'll be great from one island community to another. So you've personally never been to the state, right?
In the States, yes, but never in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's what I meant. This state, the state of Hawaii. So
the state of Hawaii, never.
Nice. So that'll be.
I always wanted to go there, but never had the chance.
And what was the other thing you were telling me besides your son? Right before we got on the air, you knew somebody. The band leader the guy who works in your band came here with Mark Anthony. Oh
yeah, about 4 or 5 years ago, Mark Anthony went to Hawaii, and the band leader and the leader of the brass section was one of my trumpet players, and he's going to be performing with me there, and he's very excited as well. His name is Alberto Martinez. He's a Cuban guy, born downtown in Havana, but he's an American citizen. Actually, he's living in Germany because he got married about a month ago. And he's living actually in Germany, but he is one of the greatest trumpet players I've heard in my life. And for me, it's a pleasure to go there with him and for him. And he's very excited for performing back in your place. He told me that's a great place, and the islands are beautiful.
That's awesome. You've gotten a couple of nice report cards. And real quick, your son, how much time did your son have? What's your son's first name, by the way?
Juan DeMarcos.
Juan DeMarcos. And how much time?
DeMarcos. I do have a grandson as well called Juan DeMarcos.
Keeping the name alive.
Marcos the Third.
I like it. So how much time did your son get to spend in Cuba?
You mean in Cuba?
Yes.
Well, he grew up in Cuba. He left about 10 years ago.
Okay.
He was living first here in Mexico. He was here for about 2-3 years, and then he left for America. And then in America, he joined the Navy. And he's okay right now. He lives in San Diego. I have 2 beautiful grandsons. And precisely in a week, I'm going there to meet him because he got back from all Southeast Asia and Hawaii and many places, and I didn't have the chance to meet him. So I'm going to San Diego in about a week. I'm going to be with my grandsons and my son. And he told me a lot of beautiful things about Hawaii. So I hope that I'm going to have at least the chance to see the country, you know, to be in touch with the people. There's a serial, you know. There's a serial in the American TV that's called Hawaii something. It's a
Hawaii 5-0.
CSI, Hawaiian CSI.
Hawaii 5-0.
Oh, yeah, this is the one. This is the one. My wife is all the time watching TV, and she usually is having a look to Hawaii I-O, I think, or Hawaii O.
Hawaii 5-0.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yeah. It means police, 5-0.
Yeah. Yeah, that means the police.
Yeah, you say, if I was to say to you, hey, the 5-0's coming, it would be like, hey, the cops are coming.
Oh, I didn't know.
Well, we'll teach each other a couple things today.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the thing I was
No, it's aloha.
exactly, that's what it's all about, my brother, is the aloha spirit. Sounds like you have plenty. What's interesting, Juan, when I was asking about your son, the reason I asked is because he said the things that he did about coming here and visiting the islands, and there's a sort of, here in Hawaii, which is very far from Jamaica, reggae is very, very popular. Bob Marley in particular is almost like a god here in the islands, and there is a real island connection that comes through that. And I tell you that to also ask you, do you have observations you can offer about how islanders seem to relate to one another's music?
Oh, yeah, for sure. As you know, now you were talking to me about how famous is Bob Marley in your country, or in your state.
Right.
And I remember that I went, in 1988, I was in Africa. I was touring in Africa, and one of the places I performed at was on a small island, which is called Seychelles. Seychelles Islands.
Okay, I've heard of those.
Seychelles is like a kind of paradise for tourists and this kind of stuff. And was very famous, the reggae as well. I don't know, there's a connection between the islands. I think that because, we eat similar things. We eat a lot of fish, and we do have different blood. And basically, if the island is tropical, there's certain link between us. So for us, we are islanders. So probably it's going to be a great experience to perform in your state.
Yeah, totally. And out of curiosity, Juan, is reggae popular in Cuba?
In certain sense, in Cuba, we do prefer the Afro-Cuban music. We do have, Cuba is a special place. We are only 10 million people, actually. And in 1959, we were only 5 million people. But we did have, in that time, more than 65 different styles of popular music. So it's a country where the music is like the foods. So reggae is popular in certain sections of the population, but it's not the main thing that they consume.
Sure.
They prefer, jazz, of course, Afro-Cuban music, and of course, pop. I mean, the people that's in fashion, people like Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera or this beautiful black lady.
Beyonce.
Beyonce, But basically, we are an African nation in certain sense because the spirit of Africa is alive. So we prefer a little bit more, less sad and more, I don't know what's the word, more happy music. Because reggae in certain sense is a little bit sad.
That's right.
Because it's the spirit of the Rastafarians. Rastafarians do have a certain philosophy that's a little bit sad.
Oh, yeah, it's music of the oppressed. You're 100% right.
Oh, yeah. And that's why we prefer another kind of music. Of course, we listen to reggae. I remember that I listened to Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Alpha Blondy, all these great reggae performers for a long time. And even I do use the hair in the same style as the Rastafarians because I like it a lot because of Marley, who was one of my idols, one of the idols of my generation. But basically, we are more tropical.
Yeah.
In terms of music.
No, it's just nice to as I lead in that, just to connect the islands and your childhood. The thing that's fascinating about you before you began to be this, I guess you could be seen as an ambassador for Afro-Cuban music, and before that started, you were a completely different kind of musician. You were into rock, and what was it in your childhood that first, I know that, I'd like to hear you talk a little bit about your family and how it was that you personally were compelled to play music.
Well, my father was a musician, a great musician, and he used to sing with one of the top Cuban bands of the 40s, Arsenio Rodriguez. And once a year, the 7th of September, we used to have parties in my house where all the musicians of my father's generation used to go. So I liked the traditional Cuban music, la rumba and all, danzón son, cha-cha-cha, mambo, all of these styles. But when you're young, and especially when you're living in an isolated country, you start, I don't know what's the word, but you value the things that are coming from abroad a little bit more than the things that you do have in your own home. So I turned to rock and roll, the great rock and roll that I still like a lot. I'm talking about the late 60s and 70s, where the great American bands, Steely Dan, King Crimson, Jerry Garcia, Santana, and the British bands like Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin. I liked a lot that kind of music. So when I went to the conservatory, I took an electric guitar, and besides studying classical guitar, I studied the lead rock and roll lead guitar. I was playing rock and roll up to the early 70s, but then at a certain point of my life, I realized that the only way that I did have to make something really valuable for my culture was to turn my eyes to our own culture. So in the 70s, we were at the university. We created the first traditional Cuban band performing the music of the 20s and 30s, but dressing like punks.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a huge success in my country. We became the number one band. We were like the Beatles of this period in my country. The name of the band is Sierra Maestra.
Yep, I know.
Yeah, and was a great band. They are still going. I was playing in Sierra Maestra up to 1997. After a recording of the Buena Vista sessions, I became the band leader and the arranger and producer of everything. So I did have no time to perform as well with Sierra Maestra. They didn't like me to be working in so many things. They wanted me more to be concentrated on Sierra Maestra. So I left the band, but they are still going. They are very successful. By the way, they got a Grammy nomination this year, and they are still one of the greatest bands. Of course, they are old guys. Actually, they are like me. We are in our 50s.
They're legendary guys. Like you're
nothing new when we are performing traditional Cuban music because we became old guys. Life is like this. But when we were 20 years old and we were performing that kind of music, but dressing like I don't know, punk, like Adam and the Ants, this kind of style, it was very punchy. And the people really realized, thanks to our help, that we do have a history and we can make it with our own music. So I'm very happy because I was a rock and roll player. Still I can play rock and roll. Well, I don't play the guitar as in the past, but still I can play rock and roll, and I play a lot of music here of the period. I mean, late 60s. Early 70s. The ringtone of my cell phone is war.
Nice.
And the world is a ghetto.
They're actually playing here in April.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they are. It's about 2 weeks before your trip, or that would be a great show for you to see.
And they are still the same guys.
Only one guy left, Lonnie Jordan.
And Eric Burton.
Eric is no longer with them.
Eric is no longer with.
But the keyboardist Lonnie Jordan is still there, and they have a great sound. They definitely have a great sound, and that's great. That's cool that you would have liked them. I actually used to really like the Irakere quite a bit.
Yeah, what I like of War is the sound is very rough. It's very natural. So they play from the heart. It's unbelievable. This album, the greatest hits of War, with all of these tracks, World is a Ghetto, and several songs. They are really great. So I'm going to lose them, but probably I'm going to have the chance to see them in America or here in Mexico.
Yeah, Slipping into Darkness, all those great songs.
Mm-hmm.
They're popular here. The Cuban band, am I pronouncing it right? Irakere?
Beg your pardon?
There's a Cuban band that used to be around called Irakere. Am I not pronouncing it?
Oh, yeah. Irakere was, I don't know, during the 70s. Irakere was one of the really influential bands in Cuba.
Yeah.
They played a kind of very advanced Latin jazz. and many of its members became top stars.
Chucho Valdez, Paquito Rivera,
Arturo Sandoval,
yep.
Carlitos de Puerto. Many of them became international. Chucho Valdez, they became international stars.
Yep.
Irakere was the band that really broke the line that we used to have for performing the Afro-Cuban jazz. During the 50s and early 60s, the music was a little bit more American. Many influence of Thelonious Monk and all of these great American performers. But they started playing a kind of Afro-Cuban jazz where they mixed the sound of the ancestors. I mean, they brought the spirit of Africa to the jazz, and then the combination was exceptional. Irakere was, they are still one of my favorite bands. Chucho is still going around with a new band that he calls the Afro-Cuban Messengers, but it is a sort of Irakere. They sound the same, but with young guys.
He's incredible. I've seen him up close in a club on the piano, just mind-boggling.
Oh yeah, he's incredible. But I'm going to tell you something. There are many incredible Cuban piano players, but they are not really well known. For example, the piano player that's going to be performing with us there, he used to be when Chucho. Do you remember that Chucho was the piano player for the Cuban project of Roy Hargrove?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, when Chucho left the band, then the pianist that came to the band was Gabriel Hernandez. And Gabriel Hernandez is going to be the piano player performing with us in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Great piano player. He's a little bit less known than Chucho. Chucho is a top star.
Oh, yeah.
Well, to get there. But Gabriel has the same skills. He's a great piano player. Probably he plays a little bit softer. Because Chucho, Chucho takes a piano and at the second song, the piano is out of tune. So he's like, I don't know.
He assaults it.
Ali playing piano.
Yeah.
But Gabrielito plays softer, but with, this spirit of, the great piano players. He's great, and he's going to be with us on stage.
At that concert, while we're talking about it, Juan, describe for me the format of the show. What can people who are attending the show in Honolulu expect?
Well, what we're going to do is a kind of journey through the Cuban music. It means that we're going to be performing at least 15 different styles of Cuban music. The sound is going to be traditional because we're going to use traditional styles of the Cuban music, but at the same time it's going to be contemporary from the point of view of the arrangements. The arrangements are jazzy, so we can show the musicianship of the band members, but at the same time, it's going to be danceable. Everybody can dance from the first song. So it's going to be a 16-piece band where the brass section is composed by 3 trumpet players and 1 bass clarinet, which is something that's not very usual in the Cuban music, but I have discovered that the sound of the bass clarinet, it's like the sound of the baritone sax, but softer and sweeter, and sounds very good, the combination when you use, for example, a couple of trumpets, 1 flugelhorn, and 1 bass clarinet. Sounds very sweet. And I'm going to be using, 3 trumpets. They also play the flugelhorns depending on the arrangements and the song. And we have the Cuban basses for the Afro-Cuban basses of the band, which is a piano, a keyboard, bass, conga, timbale, and bongo. And then we have 3 great singers in the phone line together with me, and this is the band that you are going to see there. You can see some of the music if you go to my website, AfroCubanAllStarsOnline.com. There are a few videos in there, and the band is getting a huge success. Actually, I was outside of the world for 3 years because I came to Mexico. I had to take care to my daughters. I had to prepare everything. And we came back in 2009, and we performed 40 concerts in America. Very good. Last year, we came back, and we played 13 during the summer because we did have a lot of work in Europe. And this year, we're coming back. Before going to America, we are going to Australia. We are going to be performing Australia and New Zealand. We have 3 concerts there and a couple of concerts at the Jakarta Jazz Festival.
Oh, wow.
So then we are going to America. We are going to perform in the East Coast, and then we're heading to the West and going down to Hawaii. I hope that the concert is going to be enjoyable, that you are going to appreciate the Cuban music, the musicianship of the band members, and at the same time, I hope that the people is going to spend a good time. And when they leave the concert, they are going to be, I hope that they become a little bit happier. Because, we're having very bad times, actually. But I think that the objective of the life is to be happy. And if you spend a couple of hours being happy, this is going to be a positive for your future life.
Oh, there's no question about that, and I totally agree with that message. For novices and casual fans, what are the differences you can try to illustrate between the music of the Buena Vista Social Club and the Afro-Cuban All-Stars?
Well, there's something that the people don't know. Basically, at the beginning, I'm talking about the period between 1996 and 2001, was the same band. Because we did a plan to record 3 albums in Havana. The albums are right now called the Buena Vista Sessions. But, world music is not the same as pop music or commercial music. So it means that if you want to sell albums, you have to go outside to streets. You have to go to concerts, you have to perform, and then you sell the albums in the performance. It's not the same. You don't have a big company, huge company behind you putting money on the table in order to market your music. So after the recordings, we created a band in order to defend and promote the 3 albums worldwide. And the band was the Afro-Cuban All-Stars.
Right. Yeah, that's why it was same musicians.
Yeah, same musicians. Everything was the same, except that the sound of when we perform with the same band, the Afro-Cuban All-Stars album, I used to have a big brass section because the album of the first album of the Afro-Cuban All-Stars pretended to make a tribute to the music of the 50s, when we used to have big bands like the bands that you did have in America. I'm talking about, I don't know, Tommy Dorsey or Cat Calloway or Duke Ellington, This is the music of the 50s. Meanwhile, in the Buena Vista Social Club album, we made a tribute to the music of the 20s and 30s, a little bit more in the style of Sierra Maestra. So the music was acoustic music with a sound softer and a little bit more, let's say, simple. The arrangements were simpler. But when we started, it was the same band. In 2001, we got a huge success. Well, we got a huge success from the beginning. But about 2000, 2001, it was impossible to accomplish all the compromises that we did have. So we decided to split the bands. And from my band, from the Afro-Cuban All-Stars, we took certain band members, the older band members, and we created the Ibrahim Ferrer's band.
Right.
And then this band, the Ibrahim Ferrer's band, was called the Buena Vista Social Club. Of course, it wasn't, because the original Buena Vista Social Club only played 3 concerts. The first 2 concerts in Le Carré, which is a theater in Holland. Meanwhile, the third concert was at the Carnegie Hall, which is the one that you can see in the film of Wim Wenders.
Okay.
Right. So the difference basically is that the music of the Afro-Cuban All-Stars, when we play the Afro-Cuban All-Stars, the music is a little bit let's say, more complex. The arrangements are a little bit more, let's say, worked. Meanwhile, with the Buena Vista Social Club, when we played the Buena Vista Social Club, the sound was softer, less sophisticated, arrangement simpler, but at the same time with a lot of, Cuban sabor, with a lot of sabor. So the band that you're going to see in Australia has the spirit of the Buena Vista Social Club, what we played with the Buena Vista Social Club, but the arrangements are more contemporary. The music is a little bit more jazzy because we do give a lot of space to the musicians to show the people that they are really great. And the show is a little bit more, let's say, complex, as I said. Mm. But basically, it's the same kind of music. Because I think that if you are going to write a danzón is let's say, is the Cuban national dance and one of the most sophisticated styles or genres of Cuban music. But if you're going to perform a danzón in 2011, you don't have to follow the rules of the original danzons, same as the kind of danzons that we played in the album Buena Vista Social Club, because in the album the danzons were played in the original style. If you are going to perform the same danzón in 2011, you can add more elements.
Got it.
The arrangement, following the rules in certain sense of the general danzón, could be a little bit more, let's say, more worked in order to be according to the times.
Expanded upon.
Yeah, because you do nothing keeping the old things, the things that you do have in your bag, the things that made you what you are, in the same way you have to develop what you have in your spirit in order to make something new, in order to keep this music in the soul of your people, and that the people of the new times can understand and identify themselves with the music. I don't know if I'm clear.
No, you are. What you're basically saying is you're creating music that in a contemporary way people can identify with, yet it maintains the true cultural and heritage traits of the original.
Exactly. That's what I do.
Yeah. No, I'm following you, my brother. And it's pretty evident in the work, but you explained it in a really eloquent way, and it's fascinating actually to think of it in those terms. As a wrap up with you, Juan, when you how much time do you these days spend in Cuba, and is there an evolution toward change occurring there that is associated with Fidel Castro's brother's ascent to power, or what can you say in terms of the present day realities?
Well, normally I go to Cuba about once, twice a year. And because I'm going to be absolutely straight. The only place of the world where I'm happy, really happy, it is my country. You can live whatever, of course, but I'm becoming an old guy. I remember during the times of Buena Vista, I used to be the younger member of the band. Now I'm one of the oldest. So life, it's like this. So once or twice a year I go to Cuba, sometimes for recordings, to work, sometimes in order to see my family. And what I've seen, actually in these days, the people is really afraid of the changes that are coming. I know, and we all know, that the only way that Cuba have to survive as an independent country, it's precisely to make the economical necessary changes. But these changes are going to be a little bit traumatic for the people of less resources, because once they don't have these, I don't know what's the word in English or the phrase, they have certain rations of foods that they receive every month from the government. And this is going to be eliminated of the Cuban for the Cubans. The young guys are a little bit happier because they know that this is the only way that we do have to survive. But for the old guys, it's going to be really tough. The people is afraid. I remember that the last time I went there was in December. And in December, I was talking to a guy who was selling in the streets this new law. You know, there was a kind of small book with the laws and the changes that are going to happen in the Cuban economy. And he told me, well, I have been reading 3 times these papers, and I don't understand a word because it's written in the style of the lawyers. You know, lawyers do have a different language.
It's like double speak.
Your own language, you cannot understand them because it's a tricky style to say the things.
Yeah.
And the old guy didn't understand a word. But I think that this is the only way that Cuba has to keep alive. We do have the potential to become one of the tigers of the economy in the world because we do have the talent of the people. Really, Cuba is a country of talented people. Well, you remember when these guys in Miami, I mean the old guys, went to Miami, Fidel Castro took everything from them. So they went poor, completely poor to Miami, and they became rich again.
That's right.
So it's a country of people, of talented people, business people. And as soon as we do have the possibility to develop the economy and have the freedom to invest in our own country and the freedom of working on our behalf in our own country, we are going to be better. Of course, this is going to take at least 25, 30 years, which is very bad for the old guys.
Yeah, it is.
And even for me. I don't think that I'm going to live 30 more years. But I think that this is the only way that we do have to develop a normal country, because you cannot live in a country where the state is your father and tells you whatever you have to do, what's good and what's bad. Even I don't mind about politicians. I don't mind who is in the power, because all the politicians are the same. They can say, for example, I don't know, Stalin and Hitler were the same people. And I think that George Bush and Fidel Castro is the same thing. They are in different wings, but at the end, they do think in the same way. Mm-hmm. And politicians normally say that they are working on your behalf, but they are trying to satisfy their own interests.
They're kind of like lawyers.
Interests.
They're kind of like lawyers. They're in their own little world in some ways.
Oh, yeah. This interest could be, I don't know, economical, or could be, I don't know, the glory. Same as Fidel Castro doesn't have a cent.
Yeah, you're saying their interest could be based on either their own ego satisfying.
Oh, yeah. That's what they want.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they want. So, I hope that we're going to have a good future. I think that the new generation are going to be living in a better country. But the first step is to open the economy, because what's important is what you eat and what you can do. And it's very important to work, and then with the money that you're receiving for your work, to create a life standard. But if you do receive everything coming from the government, you are doing nothing, and at the end, the people don't work. The people go to the work. They do have their own jobs, but they don't work because they are not working on their behalf. This is the main problem, man.
Yeah, man.
But I see that there is certain hope, basically in the intellectual sections of the society, and the young guys are happier. I suppose that soon Fidel Castro, the government, Raúl, is going to open the boundaries, the borders of Cuba, and everybody could go wherever they want, because if you don't go abroad, you don't know, you cannot, I don't know what's the word, you cannot appreciate what you do have in your own place.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You're saying that the people of Cuba would be a lot more appreciative of what they had if they could go and see the other parts of the world and vice versa.
They have to go abroad, and they will see that their life is not easy. Because for many people in Cuba, you go outside and then you find trees full of dollars.
Right.
And you know that you have to work a lot in order to make a living. Just to make a living, you have to work for hours and for years in order to make a living, to get a life standard. And this is going to happen, definitely, I hope, in 2 or 3 years. They have no choice but opening the borders, and everything is going to be better. That's what I think, my point of view.
I hope that that's the case. I hope someday it would be great to do an interview with you there in Havana, my brother.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But no, even if you call me, I don't know, in 3 months, I'm going to be in Havana because I go frequently there. I didn't leave Havana because of a political problem, because I don't mind politicians. For me, all of them are the same. I left because my daughters needed a Russian school because they are classical performers.
Okay.
So if you do play classical music, if you want to become a great orchestral conductor, you have to go to Russia because this is the place of the orchestral conductors and the place of the great composers. If you are going to be you want to be a great, I don't know, programmer or a computer programmer or a great network administrator, you have to go to America because this is the place. If you want to perform Cuban music, Afro-Cuban music, salsa, or whatever name you use, you have to go to Cuba. This is the only place where you can learn.
I got you, brother. I got you. Hey, man, when you come to Honolulu, let's hook up and do another interview if that's cool.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm going to arrive a little bit earlier, and hold on, because I do have the plan here.
And would you give me your email, Juan? Can I email you?
Well, my email is afrocuban at yahoo.com.
That's your email.
Yeah, that's my email, afrocuban as I am, at yahoo.com. This is my private email. You can write me there if you do have another question, if you want whatever you want. I do have a very good studio here.
Okay. Afro-Cuban, just one word, AFROCUBAN at yahoo.com.
Yeah, A for Albert, F for Fidel, R for Richard, O for Orlando, C for Cuba, U for U2, B for Bernard, A for Albert, N for No, at yahoo.com.
You're the man. I'll email you later today. And that way I'll just know when you're getting here and we'll coordinate something.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's going to be a pleasure. I hope that you're going to be in my backstage and we can have a beer.
I look forward to it.
Or have a bottle of rum. You have a Havana Club, but I don't think that you can have it because of the politicians. Aloha, familia. I see Juan de Marcos of the Afro-Cuban All-Stars, and you're listening to the only show that really matters with my close friend, Dave Lawrence. Aloha, familia, le está hablando Juan de Marcos de la Afro-Cuban All-Stars y usted está escuchando el único show que realmente importa con mi amigo Dave Lawrence y es el tiempo favorito de Dave. Por lo tanto, tengan un feliz 4:20 con el hermano Dave.
I love it. I love it, Juan.
Hey, well, you can use a part. You can edit.
I got them both, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, my friend, for your call.
Oh, I give you a big hug. You're welcome very much. Thank you for taking time for me. I'll send you an email.
Oh, at all.
We'll stay in touch.
Sure, indeed.
We will hang when you're in town. And please travel safely. And it was a real pleasure. I value your time immensely.
Muchas gracias, mi hermano.
Right at you, brother.
Well, take care, my brother.
Aloha, my brother.
Bye. Aloha, familia. I see Juan de Marcos of the Afro-Cuban All-Stars, and you're listening to the only show that really matters with my friend Dave Lawrence. And it is Dave's favorite time of day. Have a happy 420 with brother Dave.
Aloha, this is Juan de Marcos of the Afro-Cuban All-Stars, and we are enjoying a little fiesta with my friend Dave Lawrence. Hey, bro Dave, have a happy 420. Aloha, this is Juan de Marcos of the Afro-Cuban All-Stars, and we are enjoying a little siesta with my friend Dave Lawrence. Hey, bro Dave, have a happy 420.
Aloha familia, I is Juan de Marcos of the Afro-Cuban All-Stars, and you're listening to the only show that really matters with my close friend Dave Lawrence.
Aloha, this is Juan de Marcos of the Afro-Cuban All-Stars, and you're tuned to the only show that matters with my friend Dave Lawrence.